Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Francis, and today I'll be talking to you about how artificial intelligence will affect the way we do sales. So, before I actually get into the presentation, let me since we talk about intelligence, and when we talk about intelligence, you normally think about the human brain. That is the best reference we have. It is widely believed that it is after people started walking on the 2 feet that the human brain really evolved and grew to the state that it is in today. We also know that when we try and do something for the first time, it's a new pattern which is formed in your brain. When you keep on doing that, what activity, whatever you're trying to do again and again, this pattern which is formed in your brain gets reinforced. And if you keep on doing it for a period of, let's say, 20, 30, 40, 50 days, that is when that pattern becomes a habit and that becomes wired into your brain. So I think the best example that comes to my mind is, probably when we learn driving, initially when we start driving, you are very conscious about everything that you're doing. You're very careful, you see any person who's coming, you slow down when you're overtaking your speed. These things happen very consciously. But over a period of time, when you actually learn to drive, 90% of these things happen on its own. It happens from the subconscious. So similarly, a lot of the functions that we do today are driven by habits or by subconscious. Similarly, why I talked about this was now when you're trying to build artificial intelligence, is linked to how a human intelligence is. AI or artificial intelligence, as we know, it is not something new. It has been around since 1950s. Initially, when we were creating the artificial intelligence, we were trying to actually do it like what we program computers. For one activity, you would have a program which is made. But the human intelligence does not work that way. We learn things. So in the last decade or so, we have tried to follow what the brain does. You have a neural network which keeps learning. So this learning can be either handhold learning, like what happens when you go to school or when you're an infant, your parents help you learn a lot of things, or things like you do today as a grown-up. You learn a lot of things on your own without being supervised. Another three enablers which have really helped during this period is since most of us have shifted into smartphones, and anything that you do on a smartphone is captured as a data, whether it is browsing some website or using an app or making a decision, that is a data which is captured. And so the huge amount of, since people have 70-80% of the people have already shifted to smartphones, there's a huge amount of data that is being captured onto the digital highway on a daily basis. Similarly, when we talk on mobile phones, there is not really much difference between a good 2G network and say a 5G network. But for a machine with the increase in speed, it is able to react to each of these in a much faster pace. So another enabler that has really helped is the huge efficiency with the 5G or 4G or 5G coming in. There is also huge in implementation of IoT or Internet of Things. With that, what really happens is everything that you use on a daily basis is capturing data. Whether you're buying a car, using a refrigerator, or your microwave oven, or anything, or your gas stove, it is capturing data about the machine and about the usage about that machine. So that is another reason why there's a lot of information flowing in. And the key reason why AI suddenly becomes so vital and is able to do a lot more things than it used to do is because of these enablers. Now, if you typically try to see, the kind of works that we normally do, we can broadly divide it into maybe three kinds of categories. You have, let's say, things like decision making, leading a team, where you require a lot of creativity, where you have to judge on things, or where your emotional quotient is used and all. These are all things which require a lot of adaptability, and when situations keep changing, these kind of decision making are likely to remain with humans. Even if AI grows and develops, it is likely to remain. There are also a lot of tasks that we do which are very repetitive in nature. Where, let's say, in a production line, there's a lot of same task which is repeated, or going through huge quantity of data, which is quite difficult for a human brain to do, or doing a lot of high precision jobs. So these kind of jobs are likely to shift entirely into a AI kind of a setup. But between these two, there is a lot of things that we do, where both AI and humans will have to coexist and support each other. Really do day-to-day things. There's always this, human tendency that we have. For example, when computers came in, there was this feeling that computers going to take over. Similarly, when AI comes in, we are feeling that AI is going to take over jobs. AI is not going to take over anybody's jobs. It's probably enable you to become more and more efficient. And look at our productivity, which how it has grown the last maybe 15 or 20 years. It is something like that. It will enable you to become more and more efficient in what you do. Before I really get into it, let me quickly run through what happens in a normal sales process. We all as sales professional, we either sell a product or a service to the end consumer. And to sell that to the end consumer, we create various types of sales channels depending on the kind of market or the kind of target group that you really want to address. And to do that, we also create a team, a sales team. Now, to create a sales team, you need to recruit people, you need to provide them periodic training, keep developing them, be in touch with them, handhold them, mentor them. A lot of processes happen. When you come to actual sales, depending on, let's say, B2B sale, you have a lot of pre-sale and prospecting which happens. And then you also create what I would say, a lot of processes and systems to ensure that the sales process works very efficiently. And very often, it is this efficiency which differentiates you from the competition and helps you to have a bigger market share compared to your competition. In order to attract customers, you also do a lot of promotion and advertising. Depending, this again varies depending on the kind of product or kind of market that you are trying to cater to. For example, now if you are trying to launch a new product or enter into a new product segment, obviously the promotion and the advertising that you do will be very different from a situation which is a very stable kind of market. Similarly, there's a lot of market research and forecasting that we do as sales professionals. We forecast for the next month or the next quarter, the next year, maybe even for the next 5 years, depending on what kind of a role you are presenting. And like I said earlier, if you're getting into a new product, you do a lot of market research survey to understand which are the markets where I should launch that product, which is the kind of channels that which I should look at. So a lot of this market research planning strategy is also done by sales professionals. Once you have a set of customers, you also have to ensure that they're retained with them. The customer relationship management becomes very crucial, and it's probably one of the most important function of a sales professional, where you have to be in touch with your customer, whether it's a direct customer or your sales channel, and ensure that you maintain that rapport with them to grow your sales. So very often, if you see as sales professionals, we are used to or more comfortable doing these face-to-face interactions with the concerned either consumers or with the channels to maintain the relationship. In addition to all this, I think probably the most underrated function is the inventory management function. Particularly during, let's say, high sale periods, peak festive sales and all. It is your inventory management which actually decides who becomes the market leader for that particular period. Because if you don't have the right inventory which people want, you end up losing that sale, because nobody is going to actually wait during the kind of festive season. Nobody really waits for your product to come. They will buy a competitor product and go away. So I was quickly trying to summarize what are the various activities that we do as sales professionals. Now, what I'm trying to do during the course of this presentation is, like all sales guys, we are not very keen on listening to GAN. So what I will do is, for each of these functions, I am trying to give you examples of companies who have already implemented AI. So which will, be a kind of eye opener to us for the possibilities that are available and how we can actually look at maybe, taking some of those leads which those companies have already done and implementing into our organization. So, like I said earlier, one of the key things that we do is, analyzing and breaking down consumers. That is something we keep doing on a day-to-day basis. And what kind of, based on this, you decide what to offer to a particular customer or what to offer to a particular segment. Now, a couple of examples where AI has been used in this function. One example is that of Disney, where they have started using AI to actually understand how audiences are reacting in a movie theater in a live situation, which enables them to understand scene by scene what is the response that that movie is generating within the crowd, and it varies from geography to geography. Second thing is, now let's say you're trying to do a mortgage or a loan kind of thing. It normally takes a lot of time because there's a lot of paper documentation which has to go through, and normally takes a week or months for that process to get completed. So we have a company called Experian, which is specialized in using AI in mortgages, and what they've really been able to do is, because they have fed in all these rules into the AI system, and the AI system is able to scan data at a much faster pace than we humans can do. They've been able to reduce this time required for mortgages from weeks and months to hours. So if you start working on it in the morning, probably by evening, the machine decides whether we should go ahead with that mortgage or not. So huge time saving which comes in because of I think all of us will know about Harley Davidson. It's one of the most sought after bike models that are there. And since it's a very high premium kind of bike, the number of people who actually go and buy it are very selective kind of lot. It is not only that you need a lot of money to buy it, but you also need to have that kind of what I would say interest in that kind of biking segment to really go ahead and buy it. So when Harley Davidson was trying to understand how can I improve my customer targeting, what kind of customer segment do I target, and they started using AI for this identifying the right customer to pitch to. They decided into a combination where they would decide on kind of web page that customer has viewed, what is the length of time that the person has spent, what did he really go and spend more time on, did he spend time on the vehicle features and things like that, to arrive at a kind of customer segment or a kind of customer whom they should target them. And once they implemented this AI, what they found is the lead generation that they were able to create, where positive lead generation is able to create once they are able to relate all these things together, went up by almost 2,900 times. Similarly, the conversion of these leads also grew up by around 500%. I think something is very relevant in a B2B kind of sales segment. We also spend a lot of time in forecasting and predicting, what is the kind of sales numbers we have and how do we, tackle things. A lot of forecasting we end up doing. And a couple of examples where AI has been used for this successfully. One is a company called Verizon. Verizon is one of the world's largest mobile companies. It was originally part of the Bell Group, and then the Bell Laboratories was broken down because of competitive regulations. This was one of the companies which got formed out of it. So they have adopted AI, and one of the biggest mobile companies was taken over Yahoo. And one of the biggest challenges that all telecom companies face is how do you manage your network? At some point of time, in some places, your network requirements spike up in such a way. If you're not able to manage, either your calls start dropping or your calls don't get connected. So they were able to implement the AI, and AI was able to predict in the span of, let's say, a year or so, 200 to 250 cases where network issues were likely to come up in advance. So once you know that at this point of time in this particular area that you're likely to have a network issue, you can plan and ensure that those issues do not happen during that particular period of time. Second thing is there is this company called Kimberly-Clark and Company. They've come out with a lot of products, one of them being Huggies, and they have used AI, to understand how people's behavioral patterns change. Particularly when you have life-changing events like a wedding or a pregnancy, or you have a new kid in your house and all that. How people's habits change and what is the right time to actually make a pitch to them. They have actually used this promoting Huggies in a which way, in a big way. What is the right time when you have to put the pitch to a young mother that you should go for this particular napkin or things like that. So that is one success story I wanted to talk about. Second, the next point I want to talk about is, how do you actually provide the right suggestions to your clients? Particularly this is particularly true in for organizations which have a huge number of SKUs, like maybe FMCG. What usually happens is you have somebody going, some distributor person going, or a salesperson going in a van and all that. He might not have the bandwidth to really promote, let's say, 500 SKUs. He will have a 8 or 10 or 15 or 20 which he is routinely promoting. He will keep promoting that. But what has really happened once AI has been, provided as enabled to sales agencies? Let's say AI keeps continuously monitoring based on the sales and of that counter and the geography of that area and the customer profiling. It also decides, out of my 500 SKUs, only 30 are being sold in that particular counter. There is another 10 which can probably be promoted by that counter if there is a focus put to it. So for places where, or organizations where the number of issues are very high, AI acts as a major enabler which prompts the concerned salesperson who is on his beat to start promoting these products. The next example that I want to talk about is Burberry. Burberry, I think you will all be seen, is a high-end clothing brand. And what they have done is they have come out with this AI-powered radio frequency identification tags which are there in your cloth, which helps you identify what is the way that particular cloth will actually look when you wear it, or what are the different ways in which you could actually wear that cloth. So, a couple of examples where you could actually improve your sales of some of your product categories which are not being promoted today because the person is not really aware about what is the way to do it. There is also, as sales professionals, we do a lot of upselling on a regular basis. And particularly if you're doing in a B2B category, this is something which keeps on happening. And even in, let's say, a lot of online sales and all that, we keep getting, if you're using, let's say, any streaming service or you're using an e-commerce service, you get a lot of suggestions. These are the products which are brought together, or you should try those and things like that. So since I didn't want to take something from a totally internet kind of background, I've taken Burberry, which is again a clothing brand. And what they've tried to do is they have started offering, let somebody comes to the store and he has checked out some products and then gone. So the AI knows that Joe Francis has come here and he selected these things, but probably one item. So the company then uses this information to feed online to me what are the similar things which I am likely to like and buy. Or similarly, if I have searched and gone and searched something online and then come to the store person knows that these are my priorities, and these are things that I normally like. So he can pitch the right product when I'm there in the store. We also, as sales professionals, we also spend a lot of time on designing the right promotions. And one challenge we always face is, what is the kind of money that we need to invest in the promotion, and which is the exact geography that promotion should be run so that it is successful. So a couple of examples where AI has helped promotions to be run in a better way. The first example that I would like to take is Starbucks. We all know about Starbucks. It's one of the world's biggest coffee chains. They have around 30,000 outlets. And they have some 87,000 of combinations available on their menu. Combinations. And they also have designed an app where, you could actually pay for your food and drink. In Starbucks, you actually go and get the coffee. So before you actually go, you can pre-order your coffee or your food items through this app, and then you could go in and pick it up. So there are some, I think, 17 or 18 million people are using this app recently. And what has happened is they have been able, since the app captures what is the pattern that I use, what is my normal preference on things, AI is able to offer specific promotions to those customers. It kind of becomes a kind of personalized kind of promotion to each person. And so, see, if something that I like is sent to me, either chances of me going for it is more than a normal, random promotion coming into me. Second example I wanted to say was of McDonald's. McDonald's also has to uses this to decide what to promote in each store. And that decision is driven by the what is the kind of ordering that is normally prevalent in that locality, what is the weather, what is the inventory in that store, if there is some inventory liquidated within a specific amount of time, then there is more focus put on promoting that kind of an event. Similarly, Coca-Cola has been using AI to give a lot of personalized kind of promotions for its loyalty programs. And it has also been using AI. What happens is when promotions are bombarded at you, a lot of people don't really respond because they don't feel connected to it. So they have also used to build in promos which are relate to each local audience. You can fine tune your promo to relate to the local audience, so the chances of people responding to the promo are more. Like I said in the beginning, recruiting the right kind of manpower is a huge exercise in any function for that matter, and more so in a sales function. So here I'm taking the example of Unilever. Unilever, like is probably one of the biggest organization in the world, and it has employs around 1.6 lakh people, and it's present in countries, and has around 400 branded products which is being sold by them. So they had an initial entry kind of position, 800 positions, which had been and they've got applications for around 202.5 lakhs. So if a human person has to go through this 2.5 lakhs and shortlist people, it's going to take a lot of time. And you are also likely to get biased depending upon various parameters. So they have come out with an AI-based recruiting solution where the AI uses different kind of online games and video recording is supposed to make. And in these games, there is no win or lose. It is basically what the game is trying to understand is what are the basic characters that you possess, the natural characters. And the AI has already been told what are the characteristics that are required for that particular job. So basically what they're trying to do is how do you connect these two? How can it be linked together to find the right fit? And similarly, when you apply for a job, 99% of the time you don't really get a response. And even if you get a response, you get a very standardized kind of response. Not being your experience is not relevant or something like that. It's a generic letter that you get. But with this, what has happened is Unilever is able to send a reply, personalized reply to each of those persons, which not only shows why they've not selected, but what are the improvements that the person has to do in case he wants to still apply for it for that position. Training is something which is ongoing in sales because you have no new product categories which will come in. People will shift geography, so they will have to be trained. So I'm using again Unilever's example, which since it has a number of SKUs and is present in a wide, huge geography, they have used this Luna boat, which is a natural language training thing which is built by them, which not only provides the information that anybody in the organization asks for, it has also learned to differentiate, according to the hierarchy of the person and give him the relevant information. So this is an example where AI has helped to, streamline in the normal situations presently as managers, we spend a lot of time hand-holding new recruits. Whether they come in the entry stage or in the middle stage or somebody who is also shifted, you handhold them a lot. This kind of AI intervention will help us to save a lot of time because the person can learn a lot of things from the AI itself. Now, this example I want to talk about is about normal sales operations. And probably the easiest things, two examples which came to my mind was all of us use Uber. I think we'll relate to it immediately. So Uber entirely runs on AI. So the moment you ask for a cab, it is the AI which decides which are the cab drivers which are nearby to you and who are the people who have to be prompted about the pickup being available there. And once you're connected to a driver, it is again AI which decides using Google Maps, of course, which route to take and what is the easiest way to take it. It is similarly, it is AI which decides at what point of time you can increase, you can put in a surge pricing. With surge pricing, there are two things that happen. One is you're charging a customer for a premium because of service. But because there is a surge pricing, more drivers tend to come to that area because there's a higher price available in the market. And when more people come in, automatically there is more service provided and that surge drops down. So Uber is a classical place where normal day-to-day sales operations are driven by AI. Similarly, when you order food in Swiggy or Zomato, as soon as you order, you find it will immediately show you how much time it will reach, where is the delivery person, and all that. These things are purely driven by AI. And that is why it's able to do it so instantaneously. Right? It's instant, 26 minutes. So two examples where our day-to-day sales operations are largely enhanced by using. One of the key things for like all sales professional, like I said earlier, was how do you maintain the customer relationship? I want to take some different examples. So let's say you take Samsung. I'm sure a lot of us have Samsung phones, and we're used to virtual assistant who's there on the Samsung mobile called Bixby. prompts you to do a lot of things. But what Samsung is already doing is it is building that Bixby into all the other appliances like your computers or your laptop, and your so then you have a connected home, and that is that not only does it help you to control these other machines, but the Samsung also gets to know about your patterns and what is it that it should sell to you next. You know, what is that you will be looking forward to buying next. I'm sure all of you will have heard about Salesforce. Salesforce is probably one of the first organizations which came out with software as a service. You know, in software as a service, you really don't have to buy that software from the organization, but you pay them a monthly charge, and then you can use their packages as per your requirements. One thing that Salesforce found was a lot of companies were reluctant to actually share their database the way it is, you know, because it's confidential information, and once it goes to a third person, the chance of it being used somewhere else is very high. So they have developed a AI-based system where you don't really have to share the actual customer database. You know, the machine is able to decipher and decode it in a different way, but so that the information flows to the management system, but the actual data is not taken in the way it is. Similarly, I'm sure, like I said earlier, if you're using any of the DTH or mobile services, we're used to getting a lot of offers, particularly if you have churned out from that network. Those are all primarily driven by AI-based systems. They look at your usage patterns and what is your kind of payment that you've been making, and then offer, give you personalized offers which will make you think, rethink about getting back on the network. The next thing what I want about is how to use this data intelligence. You know, one of the major, I think the biggest function will be about using more and more huge amount of data. And we all book air tickets online nowadays. And there's an interesting app called Hopa, you know, which actually what it does is it not only provides you the cheapest option, which a lot of travel sites provide you, but it also gives you predicts what is the cheapest you can get. You know, if you wait for one more week, you're likely to get a function. It acts like an earlier time sales travel agent, you know, who would know at what point of time to book and what route to take if you wanted the cheapest option. So Hopper is one example where a lot of this data information is brought to good use. Then there's a company called Infervision, you know, which actually uses the data that is fed into it to detect cancer and strokes at a very early stage, and it does so by analyzing people's X-ray and CT scans. You know, since there's already a lot of data built into this app, into this AI system, it is able to, based on the X-ray and CT scan, immediately predict in advance what are the chances of each person developing this at a very early stage. Similarly, you have elsewhere, you know, where let us say, I think it's a classical case which you could probably use in this Corona period, where different people get different kind of symptoms, and different treatments work out for different kinds of people. So here, what it tries to do is, what it does is, based on the information available with them, it provides the best treatment option that is needed for a person, depending on the kind of situation he is in, kind of disease he has got, or the kind of couple of examples on how AI is used in sales strategy, and I think one good example what I got was on Daimler Benz, where if you actually like a car, we all see a lot of cars on the road and we like some of them. If you shoot a picture of that and send it to them, they will immediately tell you the make, the model, the specifications, what exactly could buy. And there's a lot of talk about how 3-4 years down the line we are all going to share a lot of our transportation. Based on this, they have also used AI to build the first drone service. First actually shown in Dubai with the Crown Prince. So example where AI is used for shared transportation going forward. And similarly, in the car sharing option also, this is something that is expected to come up very shortly. So here, depending on the person who actually starts using the car, based on his profile, the car adjusts a lot of its features to suit the driver. If you're somebody who drives fast, or accordingly the car adjusts its settings so that it meets your requirement. There's also a lot of places where AI is used in fraud management. Like credit card. When you use credit cards, I'm sure all of you are familiar when you use it for a very high value or use it in a location you normally don't use. You get calls from the call center. Did you really use the service? So AI is already being used by American Express in a big way for detecting frauds. It will be much faster than the manual kind of system that is followed by a lot of banks. There is also for premium kind of equipments. There's a lot of counterfeits which come in. So you have a company called Entropy, which is actually focused on detecting entropy. It's AI-based system which detects counterfeits immediately. So as we go forward, in the sales, personalization is going to be something that is going to become very crucial. And a couple of examples where AI has become very crucial in personalization is one is in Domino's, where they use AI to really monitor whether the crust of the pizza has been put or the toppings have been spaced exactly the way and the right toppings have been used as per the order. You also have in Disney parks, a lot of people come in and like what we see in most of these parks. There are few rides which are very popular and few, restaurants or eateries which are very popular. So in order to avoid that kind of rushing selected people and people spread out, Disney has come out with an AI-powered van, which once you decide and tell it what all you want to do, it actually guides you. Go here first, then immediately go there. Go to the helps you to prevent you from waiting and provides maximum utilization to all the services that are there in the park. There is also a company called Stitch Fix. How this works is, it based on your preference, it keeps on sending you a lot of cloth material. So what used to happen when this is happening was, there'll be a lot of rejections. So once they have shifted into an AI-based system, it is able to predict much more accurately on what is the kind of preference that the person would have, reducing rejections by almost 90%. Like I said earlier, inventory management is something which is very crucial, but it is not really talked about much. So a couple of places where it is used very widely is one is in McDonald's, where depending on the type of food that is available, it manages what to be offered, so that the what is running short is not promoted much, and what is likely to go stale is promoted more. Similarly, in Walmart, they've come out with AI-based arrangement system, where with the items which are most sought after, and are kept in places which are easy for the customer to access, so that the chance of the person really buying it is very, very high. Walmart also has come out with this, moving robot system, which keeps scanning all the shelves, so that there is a instant ready-made access of inventory which is being fed back, and the ordering system is driven on them. I think this is another social media management is going to be something which AI only can manage, because the kind of clutter that is there in the social media, it is not easily possible for humans to really understand and decode it. So Coca-Cola has implemented this in a big way, and it tracks around 1.2 lakh social messages every month to understand, how consumers are really behaving and responding to a lot of their products. And they also try to decide based on this what is the kind of products that have to be launched going forward. There is also how AI is used in product delivery. This is being tested out by Domino's in Miami, where a self-driven car actually drives Domino's to the different consumers who have actually ordered for that product. Before I conclude, like I said in the beginning, in all sales processes, there are a lot of things that you keep on doing on a day-to-day basis. I think going forward, what is going to be a very differentiator is that there are a lot of technologies which are coming up, like AI is just one of them. Your AI, your blockchain, your big data, your reality, really so many of them. And it's probably the first time in the history that all these technologies are ready for use at the same instant, it's ready for use. And because of the kind of difficulties we had during the lockdown, almost all organizations are ready to start implementing these technologies immediately. So as sales professionals, I would feel that we should keep our hearts and minds open, if we have to really grow and thrive in this the coming decade. A lot of the sales processes that we have been used to in a particular way are going to dramatically change going forward. Thank you. That's all from my side. In case anybody has any questions, you can put it into the answer them. And these are my coordinates. So in case anybody would like to stay in touch or get in touch, you can always. Thank you. Thank you.